Hey guys, Justin Brock here again. This is only our second installment of the Medicare Monsters video series. We're trying to interview more and more people who are in Medicare, who've done other things as well, but made the transition into Medicare, who are actively writing Medicare and see the value in it, and people that are easy to relate to, that you can replicate what they've done or take away something from what they've done. That's what this series is about. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing Waylon Artrip, and a lot of you know who he is because he's pretty active on social media. He's doing a lot with Innovative Financial Group. He's done a lot on his own so far. Huge success. Very young guy, so the sky is kind of the limit at this point, as much as he's accomplished so far. And he gave me a little really, really short and sweet thing. He's been in the insurance industry for 4 years, built a $10 million distribution in 12 months after personally producing over $500,000 a year in the business. Short and sweet and to the point, and most people are like, man, that's pretty crazy. And I'm just going to start off by, and I know you probably hate getting this, but how old were you when you started in the insurance industry?
Yeah, so like 19, basically 20, but 19 going on 20.
So these guys that are like 30, 35, 25, they really have no excuse. Like,
Yeah.
no. So I'm pretty realistic. Like, not everybody can replicate like maybe what I've done or what Waylon's done, but you can definitely take things from people like that and get to that, and honestly, some of you could do even better. It just depends. The potential is out there, but Waylon's really, as I've grown to know who he is, I met him online at first. Then when I met him in person and started learning more about him, it's very intriguing, like how much he's done. Also, something I'll say just to break the ice, Waylon's actually humongous in person. He looks really small on Facebook, but he's like 6'5" or something. So you guys should know that. But me and Cody Astons were both like surprised we meet Waylon in person. We're like, wait a minute, he's like a foot taller than I thought he was. But
Not actually.
but so anyway, I'm gonna get right into it. So just give us a little bit of an introduction for yourself, more than maybe what I said there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you asked for that intro, I was like, what do people actually care about? And I guess I looked at it from my perspective, like not much for the fluff stuff, just kind of what have you done, what have you done for me lately type of thing. But yeah, kind of to piggyback off what you were saying, I started in the industry approximately 4 years ago, more 3.5 really, but got a birthday coming up, so almost 4. Man, it's been a ride, the start in the industry, the for insurance purposes. I started in a captive organization, actually on the health side of the business, doing supplemental health, door to door, cancer policies, heart attack and stroke, accident policies. And it was tough. It was very good product, just not a lot of marketing there. It was more just get creative, do your own thing, and it definitely helped me a lot. Even now, to have the opportunity to buy leads, or it definitely made me learn the marketing piece of the business, and I think that served me extremely well. As of now, especially. So starting in that environment, having just a handful of products, and the marketing basically being go to the next person's door if that person doesn't let you in.
Yeah.
Definitely a learning process, for the first year. And, I was full-time in college at that time as well. So, man, it was interesting. Definitely interesting time.
Yeah.
You're going to middle to high income homes, trying to get in their house to sell them $100 to $200 a month product that they didn't even know existed before you got there. So
Right.
definitely kind of a thrown into the fire training to system style, but I'm extremely thankful for it now.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two things that come to mind. One, in doing that first, you have to learn the art of the sell a little bit, because these are not lay down leads. There's not people that are calling you knowing what to expect. You're having to get in the house. You're having to talk them into something they weren't even thinking about. So you do learn a lot from it. I think that there's also a big factor of, a lot of people, when we talk about 92% of insurance agents fail concept, a lot of those agents are people that get in it like you got in it there, and just say, this industry sucks, I'm giving up.
Exactly.
They don't realize like that's the foot in the door, but then you can expand on it. And so I think, what I would see that you did is you expanded on it. So tell me, like, when did you start to pivot and expand on that very basic entry into the industry?
Yeah. So, because I was full-time in college when I made the decision to do insurance, to get a license to go work. So I truthfully didn't do my due diligence on research or anything. I just kind of fell into the industry like most people I feel do.
Right.
After that first year, I was like, man, I like this industry. I like what it's about. I like the opportunity. I just didn't fit in the system that I was in. So I started doing some research, probably made about 100,000 calls, watched about 1 million hours worth of video on YouTube, but everywhere else, just doing research, just what everybody does. It's the beauty of the internet. You can find basically the answer to anything. And just, found some people in the brokerage side of the business and the industry that I really trust and really hold, near and dear to myself now, given where I started and where I am now in a fairly short period of time. And, just was like, man, there's gotta be something better than this. Like, this 30% contract and these 5-year investment window is tough. Like, there's gotta be something better than this. So, then I kind of felt, because I needed the money. I mean, it was to the point where I was like, man, I gotta make money. I was on my own, living by myself, on my own. Needed to make money to pay the bills. So I was like, where do you make quick money? I was like, well, life insurance looks pretty good. So, first 6 months in that, didn't buy any leads, just cold door knocked, got fair contracts and had the opportunity to buy leads. Just, I wasn't a lead buyer at that point. I was just a cold door knocker. So it was all profit. So I just park my car and get out and hit every house on the street, buy a data list for $50, and that was my leads. So made a bunch of money that first year because I didn't really spend any other than gas, really. I was all face-to-face. Again, just wanted to deposit some money. That was it. That was the drive, which it isn't anymore, thank God, but that was it. At the beginning, I was like, man, I got to make some daggone money.
Yeah.
So that first year wrote, in the first 6 months, I wrote like 119,000, but I didn't buy any leads. So, and I was at a really good contract because I, didn't take much support or anything. I don't know if that says that I don't know, not coachable or what, but I'm pretty stubborn. I don't really like to listen. So, got a good contract, wrote a bunch of business, made some money. And then, after that, man, I was kind of like, it was really after that first year and a half, was like, man, I want to expand into Medicare, med subs, specifically. And, I actually, now my business, personal business, I write in probably 70% med sub, prescription drug plans. And the rest is final expense, life insurance, term, different things like that. But just kind of the evolution of the business for me, and just because of a lot of different reasons, not only just the demographic, but also strategically, business speaking, Medicare just made a lot of sense. So it's nice to get back into that health, the health into the business.
So many ways to pivot from what you just said, but like when I, hear how much you did just cold door knocking, like going and parking your car and doing that. And I know, honestly, I never did that. I went straight into buying leads, and I started. One biggest advantage I had was that my dad was in the industry, and that he instilled the value of Medicare right away. Yep. And so I got out of the military with some money in the bank, and we kind of had a little bit of our expenses covered. And so I went straight into med sub. Okay. Yep. And so, but I was buying leads, and the way we did it was my dad helped me get in the industry. So I would buy the leads, we would split, and he would split the lead cost with me, but then we would split the commission. Yep. Which, it's kind of a give and take, because he's getting half the commission, and plus he was at a higher level than me, so I was getting half of the level under him, so half of my street level under his higher level. Yeah. But I'd go out and I'd knock the door, and I was buying med sub to med sub leads. So I was buying people that were interested in saving money on their med sub, and I was going out in rural communities and knocking on the door and just having to get in the door. Did really well like that. I just, same as you, like even on that side, got really tired of driving 50 miles this way, 50 miles that way. Yeah. And so, but from yours, like completely cold door knocking, nobody told you that it worked. So that, I feel like that was my biggest leg up, is like I saw it work for my dad. So I'm like, well, I know it works. I know it works. I saw him make more and more money, and we've grown exponentially since then. But, I did see him do kind of like what you did, like that, go from calling out of the phone book, not knowing that, or actually when he was doing it, it was still legal. Just calling people on the phone book. He had the address, there's slight interest, he'd go knock on the door. But what you did there is really impressive, because you were real successful at it. I'm curious, like when you were doing it that way, was there decent persistency for you?
The persistency was very high. The difference, really the biggest difference was that it was a lot more procurement. You knock on somebody's door that you've never met, they've never expressed any interest. You're just trying to build interest. You're going to spend some time in that house. I mean, with a final expense deal, with a lead, you can be in and out in 30 to 45 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
These people, I'm sitting there, because again, I came from where I started. It was a 2-hour appointment.
Yeah.
Like, you go in the house, you do an hour presentation, you do an hour on. It was a process. It was a great sales process, and it worked, but it was lengthy, because you had to build that emotion. You had to do those things to get a sale because of some of the different I'll just say mitigating factors that were going on there. So I fell right out of that into final expense. So I was basically self-taught through YouTube and videos and things of that nature, and was like, I'm just going to pretty much implement what I was doing and just translate it into life insurance. I almost didn't have anybody cancel because I was their guy. Like that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I always made sure, I would look at all kind of stuff for them. I mean, it wasn't just life insurance. Like I wasn't doing Medicare. I was health licensed. I just didn't know what I didn't know, but I would find an agent locally and would partner with people that could handle other stuff. So I would still maintain that life insurance book. And those people. So, I was going over and above, but yeah, my persistency was very high from door to door, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of it was replacing overpriced policies that they just didn't know were overpriced. It was funny, like when you're cold door knocking, if you find one person who has, and without naming companies, has a final expense company that's 20 to 30% more a month, and one door, if like in the next 10 doors, there's another one almost every time of that same company, same type of policy. So it was kind of nice. Like if you're into one, you usually got two in a day. So this kind of a funny, like when you're mapping out your day, looking at your, when I look back at because I would do like a map and see what houses I'd hit, which ones I had, and look back and see every like one out of, if I'd hit like one of those 5 to 10 houses down, there was another one, whether it was across the street or next door. Like you never knew, but you just were waiting on them to be like, yep, I have that too.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like I'm coming in. Let's get this taken care of. So no, that part was nice. So that I'm sure that played into it as well. A lot of it was stuff that people already had that I was just advising them on. Hey, look, this might be better for you. If you think so, let's do it. Let's get you taken care of. And then again, the nice thing is building that book, tracking it, and being able to rework it with Medicare. That's been the most rewarding part, and that's how I started in Medicare. Just kind of cut my teeth in it and get used to it.
So you kept up with your book early on, like you started keeping up with those people, and then that way you could go back later and use them as Medicare leads too.
Exactly. So I wasn't even anything intricate either. I just used a Google Sheet. It was free. Again, I didn't have any money. So what did I have? I had a laptop that I got from college, and I used that and used my Gmail account to make a Google Sheet and just tracked it from there. I knew what life insurance they had, and I always ask what else they had for insurance. Like I know what car insurance and house insurance my clients have. I can't do anything about it, but I know what they have. Like I at least have an idea. So
that's really important, because when I started, we were doing that too, using Excel, get an Excel sheet, and we would have it on a shared space like a cloud. Yeah. And now we've gotten a little bit better. We have it like on a HIPAA compliant cloud, and and we have the agency block CRM and stuff, but all that kind of came more for the necessity of having multiple agents work for us and try to access and cross all that. But in the beginning, most agents, when they're asking me about a CRM, I'm like, if you're an individual agent, like just use Excel for a while, like you'll be fine.
Exactly. And, it's spot now, it's free and it's solid. It's basically Excel on steroids. So
right. Yeah. So that's cool too, because early on, one thing I would do is track every single prospect I ran into. If I couldn't help them at the time, I would make sure to put them on my spreadsheet and then just have them highlighted a color where they're not a current client.
Yeah.
And then I'd put what company they have, and I'd wait for that area to have a rate increase on that company, and then just go call all those people back and rewrite them. And it was easy because most of the time they liked you. You just might not be able to save them money right then, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really healthy or whatever is the best. People are like,
Yeah.
hey, it's gonna go up. You can just reassure people, like just like it always has. We're just
Right.
waiting 12 to 15% year where it's easy pickings, you know. So absolutely.
I'd go to those leads. I still remember like this one lady like coming like I would drop like 5,000 at a time, and so I'd have a pretty substantial stack of them, and I'd be just going out and hammering them out right away. And I remember like one that may have been down the list a little bit. I would get to. I still have one in my head like that. I can remember I'm going up to her door, and she's actually out in the yard. And she's like, "Oh, somebody already stopped by and wrote me this Aetna Plan G." And at the time, that was like the best rate on a Plan G.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Ah, dang it," like, like I'm not like that's what I would have written her too, And so I'm not gonna, part of me wants to go and be like, "Well, what about Plan N?" But at the time, I'm like, that's the best thing for you. I'm not, it was kind of at the point where I've already just done this. So I just documented it down. And a year later, I got her back because they had a little rate increase and I was able to rewrite it and save some money. So you got to keep track of all that. And I tell people too, like on my iCalendar, if I write, because now we write some health insurance, like on the affordable choice and short-term medical. If I write that and somebody's turning 65, 3 years down the road, I go put a reminder for 5 or 6 months before their 65th birthday on my calendar. And I'm talking 2 and 3 years down the road with their phone number, name, their birthday, and then what I had written them. And then I call them back up and write them then. And I've been doing that since day one pretty much, And now it's like I'll have people showing up on my calendar now from 4 and 5 years ago. And I'm like, oh, yeah, So there's people that just don't do that. And it's crazy. It's like just leaving so much money on the table. But yeah, so another thing, wanted to let me go back to my rubric of questions here. So have you, as you evolved, something I think a lot of people are confused about is where, like you were doing all that cold door knocking and doing great from it. And so that answers a huge question. Like, how do I get into it? Well, shoot, if you really got what it takes, go cold door knock.
Yeah.
As soon as you can buy some leads, buy the leads, work those. You get a little bit faster return maybe. But at what point did you start getting into actual lead flow and purchasing leads and developing?
Yeah, so after the first, really the first 8 months, I built up a pretty substantial, amount of money just sitting there because I try to stay very practical with everything. I'm not a too out there guy. I'm the guy like in jeans and like a decent polo door knocking. I'm not the flashy car guy or anything like that. So was like, you know what? And it honestly, the leads, investing in leads for me was more about just efficiency. I felt like if I can write, 150 without leads, if I buy 30 leads a week, I should be able to triple that at least, and then it's obviously a net positive at that point. I'm not driving, all over God's green acres. So, started buying about 30 direct mail leads for final expense, kind of the gold standard for final expense agents. I mean, still is to this day. I mean, there's a ton of other vendors and style of leads and things, but really nothing is more consistent for a final expense only agent than direct mail leads. It's almost unfortunate because of the cost, but that's just how things go. So, running 30 of those a week, did that for about a year and a half, and wrote big numbers. But that's what made me start to look even deeper into Medicare. About a year in, I still had that 6 months of still lead flow with final expense, but I found a pretty solid telemarketing MedSup source. It just stinks that I'm in Ohio. We're the only state that you can't telemarket for MedSups. Out of all 50, like it's the most unreal thing ever. It is illegal to call anybody, even a scrubbed list for MedSups. It's kind of, we have like MAPD rules for MedSups, which stinks. But I drove to Indiana. I was buying like 50 telemarketed leads, MedSup leads in Indiana, like running the border. And I fell in love with it. Like it was awesome. It was a completely different world. I mean, you're used to, it's just a different world, different demographic altogether, different acumen. The clients have a completely different acumen for insurance, typically, not always, but typically. And it just kind of brought me back to where I started my career as far as those clientele. But it was easier because I had leads. I had people that were interested, people that already had it. To, you know, kind of back to your story, these people already had a supplement. They already knew the value in it. They just wanted to save some money. And the only thing that held them back from that was me selling it to them and qualifying them, you know, their health. So, you know, was running, like I said, I kind of weaned off the final expense leads because at that time too, about a year in, I started to get some, I guess, bites or people reaching out, wondering what I'm doing. You know, how are you, what is causing your success? What's your system? Which again, not that complicated. Get 30 leads a week and spend $900 every week and have an appointment setter that calls and sets appointments and show up and try to sell people all week. That was the system.
Right.
Then reevaluate the goals on Friday. If the numbers weren't what I needed or what I wanted, go door knock all day Friday and Saturday. That was my whole system. So
I think that it's just obvious that, and it seems so simple, but so many people don't do what you're doing. When you become an independent agent,
mm-hmm.
you are a business.
Absolutely.
One man shop, but you're a business. And so if I started a business and I went and bought an office and we were selling, or I went and bought a store and we're selling stuff in the store, you have to continuously reinvest in your inventory. What most insurance agents do is they had success door knocking and they're like, I make $100,000 a year. And then they're like, you know, then they start recruiting other people and saying, y'all come do what we do. And then they just keep doing that. They keep running that little rat wheel where they're just like, you know, always, and they're like, oh, I only work 4 or 5 days a week and I'm making this and it's great. And you see some of that flashiness, but it's like, you realize that if you calm down on the flashiness in the front end, reinvest back in your success, you hit that next level. So like what you did, you cold door knock, there's some success. I have some money coming in. I have a process down that's working. Now let me take some of that money, reinvest it in lead flow. Mm-hmm. Then I hit this next level. And then I have more money coming in because my threshold to attain a client is quicker and more rapid. Though I have some expenses, my net profit is a little bit higher. So then I take a large percentage of that net profit, if not all. I think Gary Vee would tell you to take all of it. Eating beans and rice and
your house, live in your car, and use all your
exactly. But you keep reinvesting, at least a portion of that, a huge portion, in my opinion, back into it, and then eventually you can build a team, a network, and eventually you start an office if you want to, like we have, and you bring in agents that work for you, administrative people, and you can just. A lot of people throw out pyramid scheme. I tell people all the time, I say, take the word scheme out of it, but insurance is the oldest pyramid in the book. Like it's the one that stood the test of time.
Exactly.
So build yourself up into the top of it. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's a way to get there typically is through work. And I think the most simple way to look at insurance, especially, and the way I looked at it, I graduated from a college, branch campus college, got my business degree because I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I found out pretty quickly, at least looking at insurance and the way that it paid, was why wouldn't I pay, and really sometimes, like with Medicare especially, if you're breaking even year one, you're doing well. People just need to realize that. Like if you break even, you're killing it. Like seriously, I mean, you're great. It's like, if something pays you for 10 years or 6 years, like a SUP in certain states, or, final expense pays you for 10, sometimes 10 plus years. Mm-hmm. Like, why wouldn't you spend money today to make money for 10 years?
Right.
Like, it's not rocket science. Like, why not spend $100 today to make 400, next week, and then $20 a month for the next 8 years? Like, right. Sure, I'll do that. Like if somebody told you that, and it had nothing to do with insurance or anything in this industry, and just said, look, I'm going to pay you $400 now and pay you $25 a month for the next, 6 years. You just got to give me $200 down right now. Everybody would do it. Right. Absolutely. I'm in. Like, sounds good. Where do I send the check, or where do you need my credit card number? So that's the way I looked at it. Like, why not spend money now to create an income stream that is sustainable, forever. So that's where my head was at with everything. Like even now that's where my head is with everything now. I enjoy spending money on my business. It's not like, oh man, I got to, write a $3,000 check for marketing. No, it's like, sweet, I get to write a $3,000 check for marketing and see how much it pays back in the next 30 years. Like, it's not about today. It's about the next, 20, 30, 40 years for me. So
once you pivot away from, because there's a point where you pivot away from maybe leads into developing your own leads, which in turn has branding included in it. So
Absolutely.
what I teach a lot is, at some point there's, I was even talking about this on the 8% Nation podcast yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You have this, like yours is even the more inception level. You have no leads.
Yeah.
You're making money like that. Then you're investing in leads.
Mm-hmm.
Then eventually you get to the point where you want to invest in branded leads.
Yep.
And then you can even get to the point where the lead itself is out of it because you've branded so well and you continue to brand and market.
Exactly.
Where people are calling you.
Exactly.
And you're getting some of that now, where people are reaching out to you. I mean, I've been on the phone with you or texting you several times. This morning, right before this, we were delayed a little bit because you were finishing a telesales call. And a lot of that, I think, because of the way you've started to evolve, is coming to you. And that gets off of getting off of that hamster wheel, and getting, starting to put money in another way. So what I was going to say there is I haven't spent any money in a non-lead buying capacity on marketing that I felt was a waste. There have been some lead drops where I was like, okay, I think that vendor took me for a ride on that.
Yeah.
But I've never had I've never had any where I invested in Facebook ads, for instance, or YouTube or Google or anything, or direct mail with my actual face on it, or my business. Never any of that where I thought, like, even if I just break even on it, I made money on it. You know what I mean? Because my name's out there. And so we're doing like this seminar right now where we're using Facebook ads to drive people to a seminar. And I was thinking, like, even if we don't sell anything, I just got 35 people in a room. Aetna paid for them a meal. And I talked about Medicare for an hour.
Yep.
That's a win. I mean, whether they refer somebody, whether it was a current customer that showed up and I helped to retain them, and, it's just a win because you're getting in front of people, you're becoming more and more the expert. So spending money in that way, like you got to get to the point where it's like, hey, even if I'm breaking even, like you said, first year, I'm winning in the long run because more people view me as this resource.
Yeah. And like you have to view it as a business. You're not just some agent running around you're not working for Target or Walmart. Your job as an employee is not to break even, it's to make money, it's to collect a check. Your job as a business is, to have long-term success, is to make money, absolutely, but it's also to be successful for a period of time rather than just a flash in the pan. So, no, I mean, it's definitely a different way of thinking, but some people have it down, some people are learning it, but it's a valuable thing to really kind of step back and track things, look at things for what they are, and not get too fired up if you lose a little bit of money or a little bit of an investment, up front as far as profit and loss, but what does it do for your brand and your company as a whole? So definitely something, obviously a lot of variation goes into it, but a big piece of just running a business, especially in insurance, because there's a ton of pieces of the pie, which that's why it's so fun. There's about 1 million things going on every day. So,
yeah. So, you, as you evolve too, what's your opinion on cross-selling? Have you gotten more into cross-selling? It sounds like you started out in like the cross-sell was the sell.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's kind of crazy. It's like all been like reverse engineered for me. Most people, I guess, when I say most, just from what I hear, the people I speak with, agents and things, their evolution was like, oh, I started in life, or, I started in Medicare, and now I'm looking at, indemnity plans or cancer plans or dental vision hearing plans. For me, it was like, well, I started in cancer plans and heart plans, and I made it into life insurance, and then I went to Medicare, and then I'm back in cancer plans again. So it's kind of backwards. But no, I think, especially now, cross-selling is going to cross-selling makes you so much more profitable. It's unreal. That's the biggest thing. The amount of money that is left on the table by agents that may have sold someone a med sup, like you said, lady about Aetna Plan G, it was early in your career, but now you probably would have been like, well, what do you have for a cancer plan? Or, what do you have for dental insurance? And if I was kicking myself because of how many deals that I had where it didn't even cross my mind to ask. Like I didn't even think about it. I was like, well, I got my deal, I'm out.
Some of those are so easy, like a dental policy. I mean, I could have just been like, oh, did they fix your dental up?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't get my dental, I mean, that's been like the easiest thing in the world. Like, do you want fries with that? Oh, exactly. I see they sold you a cheeseburger. Do you not eat French fries with your cheeseburger?
Exactly.
Easy.
And it's a concept sale too, so it's even easier if you say, well, because people are curious about it. And that's one thing I learned at the beginning of my career. Like critical illness plans are, in my opinion, probably the easiest sale once you're in front of someone.
Mm-hmm.
If there's businesses built on selling that door to door with no leads, imagine what you can do when you have leads and you're talking to people that are concerned about something anyways.
Yeah.
So a critical illness, to me personally, just because I have experience doing it just as a standalone, when you sold someone a med sup or advantage plan, or even like a life insurance, like you could sell a 30-year-old a mortgage protection plan that may even have, living benefits, riders and things. You can talk to them about the different, critical illness plans, the Omaha, Cignas, Aetnas of the world. And I personally own one. So like I'm young, but cancer, heart, that stuff's scary. Like it just is. So, no, I think cross-selling it's almost foolish not to do it. As far as evolution of it though, I think it is difficult for someone new in the industry to focus on cross-selling. They're just focused on learning the product at hand and like, how do I sell? But I think that's where kind of some of the support and some of getting with the right, I guess, groups and people around, surrounding yourself with good people helps a lot, because finding people, they're going to help you, uncover those cross sale opportunities that you can call in a house or call on the phone or whatever, text message. That helps a lot. Just being, cognizant of the fact that, hey, look, like Nancy there, you just saved $30 a month for a med sup. She probably doesn't have anything for dental, vision, and hearing, and she definitely would probably like this plan.
Yeah.
So let's sign them up. At $40-$50 a month, that's just money in your pocket. Why not? So
I think one of the coolest things when we started working with IFG and their agents started, viewing me like as, hey, one of the Medicare resources. So but the number one call I get is in the house. They'll message me on Facebook, then they'll Facebook call me, or they'll call me and they'll say, hey, I'm sitting here with Miss So-and-so and she has this. And I'm like, oh, in that situation, I would offer a dental, vision, and hearing plan. I'd offer the Manhattan, and then I was helping quote it. Or in that situation, the Heartland Hip might work, or you need to look at a cancer policy, or, and sometimes it's more specific to Medicare, but like a lot of it's been showing them the opportunity for these little plans that may turn a lead that you couldn't do anything with into, it's profitable now. And you're helping them. You're covering risk, because that's our job, is to find risk and cover it. Someone that it's worth paying a premium to cover that risk. That's what we are to an insurance company. And but you show people that a couple of times, and then the next time they run in that situation, they're like, oh, well, Justin told me in this situation, we need to look at this. And then it just becomes apparent. And there's a couple of these IFG agents now that are like, you show them a hip or a dental policy, and they're just out there I'm probably writing more of that than anything else, because those are such easy little things to uncover.
Absolutely.
$100,000 in premium and hospital indemnity premium last month.
Yep.
My office did. So it's huge, like how much you could, how much is out there. And then backing up to when you were talking about the break even on med sup year one. Well, like if you're breaking even year one on med sup, and I'll running med sup leads, well, that final expense, that dental, that hospital indemnity plan, that cancer policy could be your now money to make that profitable, so that you can afford to stick that money in the bank for 5+ years renewals down the road. So I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they're like, how fast can I get to 100,000? You always hear that, or how fast can I get to 1 million? And I'm like, honestly, it's pretty easy. Like, if you could afford to not ball out right now and pump everything back into it. 10 med subs, even at just 10 med subs a month, you could be at roughly 100,000 within 3 years. That's just not really a high goal, and that's with no cross selling. And I'm like, so, if you could dump enough into it to get 10 med subs, but then cross sell cancer, dental, final expense, you could live off that money now, and then have all that in the bank later on. So it doesn't take long. I mean, of course, you do 20, you're there in a year and a half, 20 a month. So it just depends on what your goal is. But yeah, so I don't want to keep you any longer, man, because I know you're a money maker. So I want to get you back out there making money. So let me see. I want to wrap up a couple of things. What was my next question? I should memorize questions, right? Let's see. We got that. And yeah, man, I mean, I think we've covered a lot of ground, and people can see like the evolution of you coming from really like as hard of a process as it could have been, but how quickly you were able to see the potential. And if other people can look at someone like you as a rubric for started from the bottom, now I'm here, and really made a lot out of the bottom, but then reinvest that knowing that's not what I want to do forever. And then reinvest in this process. Okay, now that's going really well, but that's not the way I want to do it forever. So I'm trying to, constantly climb. And you can climb it so far that you can be the guy sitting on the beach one day, answering phone calls from your agency that you run. I mean, I know a lot of guys like this that are sitting there making $1 million a year at this point, and everybody else is doing the work now. And a lot of people say, "Oh, that's not a good way to do it." They work their ass off. They did what you did, and now they're, reaping the benefits. That should be what all of us want, really, I mean, to get to that point. And so it's like, don't worry about driving a Benz today. Don't worry about, doing this today. Reinvest. And now if you said, okay, I'm comfortable at this point, you could start to drive pretty much whatever you want to and have a big house and all that. But I think you still have a goal of, here, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to be. Some people never even stop. They're just like, I'm going to take it to the moon, and then other people are like, okay, I've taken it here. This is enough. Right? I'm going to start to build myself out of the process now. So there's people have to think about it. And I'm just real impressed because I think, from a young age, you saw that and you're already, trying to build yourself up there. So, if people wanted to work with you, I know you're not like selling courses or selling your time or anything like that, but I think you do have a unique perspective. If people wanted to be on your team, you can kind of shepherd them in the right direction. I don't think you're putting people at super low comp. You're giving them what they deserve and trying to point them in the right direction and help them. You might even have some lead flow that you can plug them in where they're paying for leads, I'm sure, but you're helping them. I think you have systems like that, but you're showing them not to buy crappy leads and trying to kind of point them in the right direction. I've seen some of your agents and they're successful working with you. So if people wanted to reach out to you, is there a way that you would prefer them to reach out to you?
Yeah, man. So, like you said, not really any courses or anything. There's some things I have kind of in the pipeline I'm looking to release here in the next 6 months, just to be kind of conservative on it. But right now, really the two biggest ways to get a hold of me, and everybody that reaches out to me, I don't expect them to work with me. I'm not that like asshole marketer that says, "Oh, you got to have all your contracts with me." I'm not to that point yet. I might someday, but right now it's just kind of my big thing. I'm passionate about helping agents and just people in general. So, Facebook's a good one. Obviously, it's a great tool to reach out to people. It's Waylon Artrip. It's WAYLON ARTRIP. You can look me up on there. Same thing on Instagram, same thing on Twitter, all three. Yes, definitely need to make more stuff on YouTube. That'll happen as well. But as of right now, Facebook's the easiest. Message me on there anytime. Shoot me a friend request. Happy to help anybody that I possibly can. Try to be as active as I possibly can as well in the groups and things to help as many. Again, I just enjoy it. Like the business part of insurance and how diversified you can be within the same industry is just so intriguing to me. and being able to help agents from all walks of this thing. I mean, I talked to one guy in South Carolina one day, and then some girl in Southern California the next minute. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
The amount of people that you can actually impact on a daily basis. So no, that's my passion. I'm here to help anybody that needs it, that's seeking it, whether that be with Medicare, cross-selling, final expense, life insurance, under 65 stuff now, thanks to Justin. I've learned a ton on that side, and that's a huge untapped market. So no, I'm here to help. Trying to think of a interesting way to get my phone number on the screen, but that doesn't seem, I don't know if there's any easy way, but
we'll throw it up there. You can text it to me later. We'll put his number.
Okay, cool. People can text me, call me, don't matter. I don't care. That doesn't mean I'm going to answer every time, but I'll definitely get back with you.
One day he's gonna what's gonna happen, and I can tell you because it's happened to me. People are going to reach out because you're somebody who really did start from here and move up, a ladder quickly. You're gonna get so many people reaching out. You're gonna have to start making courses where you can be like, hey, you go to this course, and you have to start, doing that. You're gonna have a second cell phone.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm working on it already. So no, but like I said, as of right now, as we sit here in the office, yeah.
No, I think it's really cool because I think you're kind of like me. Like I don't want to be the guy that charges people. I want people to talk to me. I hate to do that. I want to be accessible and help people. And I think until you get to the point where it's taking up too much of your time, that's the way to be. And that's what made me successful on the agent side so far, is I have been willing to share and help. And I see that with you in the groups. And I think like I almost get a high from helping people. Like helping them with their med sup, helping them with this, helping them with health insurance, helping an agent learn how to help more people do that. And it's like, just feels like the pay it forward concept, and so far I think it's worked for you. It's working for you. It's worked for me. And you're a good dude, man. And I'm going to get us off of here. Medicare Monsters. You'll see a lot more from Whalen unless some guy comes in and just buys his whole outfit. And
I don't look to sell anytime. It's got to be a crazy offer.
In the world of acquisitions, you might start seeing them earlier and earlier. But no, if you guys want to look Whalen up, I'll have his number on the screen here. You heard it from him. Look him up on Facebook. He's super active, and I'm sure that he'd be willing to help many of you and answer as many questions as he can. So talk to you guys soon.
Absolutely.